Hey guys, it's New Year's Eve, 2020, almost done 2020 and ready to go into 2021. Um, I thought I'd have a beer with you and go over some gear and show you a little bit about what I carry in my tunnel bags and my backpacks and on the sled, safety stuff and gear wise, things like that. Um, all of us have different ideas, I guess, as what we like and what we don't like. And I kind of give you an idea of what I like, what I don't like. It's not saying that it's right or wrong. It's just everyone's got different personal choices and opinions as to what they like and what they don't like. So, yeah, here we go. All right. So, first off, head protection. Um, this year I have a couple different helmets. I think anyone that knows me knows me. I love helmets and I love gear. Um, this year that's the 2021 509 tactical helmets. This is the cyan and blue one. I have the red one as well. Both are fantastic. There hasn't been any change between the helmets from this year to last year with the tacticals. The tacticals and altitudes are slightly different. Tacticals don't have the full bottom breath box piece here, so I would say the tactical is probably a little bit colder. However, what I like about the tactical is you can breathe a little bit better, and backcountry stuff when you're working hard and you actually need to breathe. So myself, it's super light, it's really comfortable, it fits really good. When it's used with any of the 509 goggles, it's really kind of like the best of the best as far as fit. Everything fits really, really well. I've used FXR helmets and goggles before. Great company. I personally just don't like the fit of the FXR or the Fox helmets over the 509. The 509 tends to fit a lot better. This year I've switched over a lot of the goggles to the Fusions. These are the Aviator 2.0 Fusions. Why I like the Fusion, or like the, sorry, not the Fusions, the Aviator 2.0s. Why I like the Aviator 2.0s over the Fusions and a couple other pairs of goggles I have is the quick release lens. This lens pops in and off of the goggles. So when you're out, nighttime, snowy conditions, I can have the yellow lens in there. Bright conditions, I can throw on the tinted lens, and like literally that's it. It just pops right on. It's that easy to go off and on. When you're out on the trail, it's really easy just to pop these on and off. Pretty awesome. Really happy with this helmet, and very much excited to use it for this year. I've used it a few times now and had no issues whatsoever. Gear wise, everyone runs different. Like, I guess you set up for what you're going to run for the day. We run trails around here. We run a lot of backcountry stuff. We run big powder days. Yesterday we were out riding and it was snowing heavily. You could barely see 3 or 4 feet in front of you, but it wasn't too cold, so it was nice to have gear that I could actually open up the vents and cool down. I have insulated gear and non-insulated gear. This year I'm running, this is the 509 R200 jackets. What I love about this one is this has a removable liner too, so you can pop that liner in and out and use it as a shell, or you could use it as a full insulated jacket as well. Yesterday, riding with this yesterday, we were playing in some deep snow and moving around a lot and sweating a lot. Once I started to sweat, it does have all the vents, and I just pop open those vents and that helps cool down a lot too. So underneath this, when I'm wearing the insulated jacket, all I'm wearing is my thermal undershirt. I have the 509 hoodie. It's a merino wool thermal undershirt. It's amazing, and it wicks away the moisture and the wetness. It was wet when I got home yesterday, but still warm as anything, like, because it just absorbs, I guess, the sweat and just keeps nice and warm. What I love about these jackets in particular, they have the cuff links, so your actual hand goes through the cuffs, and that gives you more protection against the snow. It has a really nice hood, so when you're not riding and you stop for a few minutes, you can take off your helmet, throw your hood on, and keep your head dry. Tons of pockets all over them. It has the waist guards, everything like that. The fit is fantastic. It's not an overly heavy jacket. with the insulated layer in there, and then when you take the insulated layer out, it's as a shell, it's fantastic. It's not heavy at all. All right, next up, another really key safety piece of equipment that I use is my tech vest. Nowadays, I will not ride anywhere. I won't ride trails. I won't ride backcountry. I won't ride anything without the tech vest. Why? It's saved my life a couple times. I've hit my bars so hard where I've actually fractured a sternum with this vest on. If I never had this vest on, guaranteed I would have broken ribs and I might not have made it out of the woods that day. So I'm very, very thankful to Tech Vest for actually making such a good vest. And not only does it save me, it keeps you sitting a little bit more rigid. So instead of like leaning over on a sled and hurting your back on all the whoops and everything, it keeps you sitting a little bit more straight. Your posture is better. And that's really nice too, because it keeps you from actually getting a really sore back riding all day. It does give you a little bit extra warmth, but it's just a vest. It's not, you know, full sleeves or anything like that, so it's not going to keep you overly warm or anything like that. Nice thing about these things is you can actually have it monogrammed how you want them. Anyone that doesn't have one of these, I would recommend like something like this after a helmet as the first safety equipment that you get. Obviously the helmet's most important, but second in line, a tech vest. I've had a few friends that have come off sleds and had some pretty rough falls. This would have saved them a lot of pain if they had one of these things on. And I know myself, this has saved me a world of pain. I feel much more confident riding with it. I'm more likely to push myself a little bit harder and try things I'm not really comfortable with or out of my comfort zone. Just because I feel that confidence that if something goes sideways, I'm protected, especially in my chest. That's really, really good to have. Okay, footwear. Footwear is an important one too. There's nothing worse than riding and getting wet feet and being miserable all day. As far as gear goes, like it's so important to have things that work well because there's nothing worse than being cold or wet on a riding day. It could really suck the fun out of the day. So super important to have not necessarily the most expensive gear, but have gear that works really good. As long as it works really good for you, it's fantastic gear. I have some FXR mountain boa boots. They're amazing. I love them. They're super warm. Really, really cold days, I'm using my FXR boots because they are warmer than my 509 boots. These are the Raid Boas. These are what I use for most trail riding and all the backcountry stuff. Why I like them for backcountry stuff is they're super light. They're completely waterproof. They're easy to get on and off. They have that ratchet system, so they're super easy to get on and off. They're warm. They're not as warm as the FXR, but when you're moving around in backcountry as much as we do, you know, that extra layer of warmth isn't really as needed. If it is a really cold day, you could always put on an extra pair of socks and throw these boots on. You're good to go. Either ones are great. Okay, well that covers most of the gear for actually riding. Now I'm going to kind of get into what I carry on my sled, what I carry for safety stuff. I think the whole point of this video was more along the lines to show all the guys that we ride with what stuff I have on me. It's good to know if there's ever an accident, you want to know who has the first aid kit. If there's, you know, someone gets stranded, you need to start a fire, you need to know who has that equipment to do it. If someone breaks down and someone needs a rope to pull a sled, you need to know who does it. I try to not carry everything in the world, but I really try to be prepared for most situations. Obviously there's things that can come up that you know that are always going to be beyond us, but anything you can do to protect yourself to make the ride safer and funner is good. So starting off, like I carry a tunnel bag on the back of the Chaos. I have a backpack on my back, and I also have various pouches on the snow machine itself. I have a handlebar pouch on the handlebars. The handlebar bag that tends to carry the things that I want to get at really, you know, quickly, and if I need to change something out really quick on the fly. So on my handlebars itself, I'm always going to carry a toque. Nice warm toque, that's important. You stop, you want to have a quick chat with someone, you pull your helmet off, you can open it up, grab a toque out of there, keep your head warm. Other thing that's really important that I carry up there is my wallet. You need to get gas somewhere, you don't want to have to dig through everything to find a wallet. If you get pulled over on a trail and someone needs to check ID, there's a lot of reasons why you want to have your wallet with you. You know, you got your health card in there, you got credit cards, you got a lot of emergency stuff with you. So having your wallet in a handy spot is pretty handy. I definitely wouldn't recommend putting in a pocket in a jacket, like an outside pocket or snow pants, because you know that kind of gear can get ripped and something can get lost. Whereas when this is secure on my handlebars and zipped up in my handlebar bag, I'll notice if my handlebar bag goes missing. On top of that, I carry neck gaiter. Neck gaiter is always nice if you're riding out to the woods or riding out to the fields and it's cold. You can have it on there. The second you get there and you can start to play, you can pop it off, throw it in the handlebar bag, and keep playing without having to open up or take off a backpack. Another thing I carry is a bunch of different lenses for the new aviators. It's nice. I have a few different sets of lenses, like 3 sets now, so I can do, you know, different conditions, different snow conditions, different sky conditions, and cloud cover and things like that. Kind of protects me. The nice thing about those aviators is you just pop on and off. And again, I don't want to keep this in my backpack, or I don't want to really keep it in my tonneau bag, because then I got to stop, get off the sled, open everything up. It's just easy just to open up the handlebar bag, grab a new lens, put it on there, off we go. I have noticed that on really cold nights, we've gone out on a couple of really cold nights, they do start to, if you start to sweat under there, the sweat will start to fog or freeze. And then once that sweat starts to freeze, it's pretty hard to defrost them. So having spare lenses is a pretty handy thing to have. And I think that's about it for what I carry on my actual handlebars. Pretty simple. Okay, next up is going to be my backpack. The backpack that I have is HMK. The thing I love about this mountain pack is it has the built-in containers, like the built-in storage for your shovel. It's got lots of storage. It's a light pack. It has all the straps, the waistband, the chest band, so you can adjust it on the top and at the waist. It's got a lot of little pockets on here, so if you need to carry change, coffee change, or a little rag for cleaning white goggles or something like that, that's all on there as well. I'm going to open this up and kind of give you an idea of what's inside of here. Okay, so on the outside, first things we have is I carry a big machete. This is fantastic for hacking through places. If you get stuck in the woods and you gotta get out and you need to cut down some little branches or something, a nice sharp machete is great. Other thing that's nice about this is it has a serrated blade. The serrated blade is really great too, because you can actually use it as a saw if necessary as well. And that just stays right on the back of the pack itself here. Okay, so I'm going to open up the front here and show you what's inside. I tend to keep my backpack is for all of my most important things. These are the things that if you need to leave your snowmobile and you got to go off on foot or anything like that, you have it. Which is, you know, hopefully never happens. But if you ever need to, if you get separated from a sled, if you have to go, like, leave a sled for some reason, you have something that you can carry with you on your back at all times. We're not out west, so we don't have to worry about avalanches, so I don't have any beacons or any probes or anything like that. But what I do have in here is my shovel. Shovel is right here, and then up here I have my handle. The handle just pops out super easy. Easy to get in and out. There's been a number of times where we've actually needed to shovel out, which is pretty handy to have. Okay, so in the front pouch, zip ties. Zip tie is handy. We all know zip ties work for everything. Waterproof plastic bag. You can use that if you need to leave a note for someone, or if there's any documents or anything that you need to keep you know, safe. Waterproof bag. Small first aid kit. Nothing fancy. This is just a basic one. I carry a proper first aid kit on my tunnel, but in the backpack itself, some band-aids, some Tylenol, minor small medical stuff. A knife, always handy to have a smaller knife, not necessarily a big machete. Sometimes you need just a smaller knife for smaller jobs. I don't carry a whole roll of toilet paper because I rarely would ever need that in the woods. Plus, it's big and bulky. However, small little packs of Kleenex, they're just as good as a big roll of toilet paper would be. Spare plug wrench, always handy. You know, you have to go away from your sled. I usually keep these on my sled, but for some reason, if something ever got lost or if you had to go help someone else out, you have one of those in your backpack as well. First pouch, Gorilla Tape. Gorilla Tape's amazing. You use it for everything. Don't go anywhere without Gorilla Tape. Compass. If you get lost in the woods and cell service doesn't work, you got a compass. Fantastic. Also, just learn how to use them, because this is no good if you don't know how to use a compass. A couple flashlights. So always carry a couple flashlights. This one's got a magnet on it, so I can actually stick it to things and have it stuck inside the snowmobile if I need to do work on it. And then obviously another one that's just a handheld one. Markers, like Sharpies. If you need to write something down on someone's skin, if someone gets hurt or anything like that, you need to write a note. You can do that with a Sharpie rather than a pen. These things don't freeze, which is really nice. If you need to write a note to someone, if you get lost and someone else gets lost, Sharpies are good to have. Spare batteries. Spare batteries for flashlights. You always want to have those too. This little pouch here is where I keep like fire equipment. I got a striker. Obviously lighters. Nice thing about lighters, if they get cold and they stop working, your striker's gonna work. That's very handy to have. Hand sanitizer. This is good just to keep, you know, hygiene and keep your hands sanitized. The other thing is that this has alcohol, a really high level of alcohol, so this will burn. This mixed with cotton balls or this fire starter, you put a little bit of a hand sanitizer on there and just a spark and this stuff will light up. You could probably get a fire going in a rainstorm or a snowstorm as long as you had hand sanitizer and some fire starters. If, for instance, like it is really windy, you can build a big shelter to put that fire in, and then in which case I have a big telescoping tube, so you can actually blow oxygen and get the fire going, which is pretty handy too. Then that way you don't have to put your face in the fire to blow on it to get started. Spare lighters. This is another thing that a lot of people don't really think about that's also important too. I always carry a couple $100 of cash. Why do I carry cash in the back of my snowmobile? It's just for emergencies. Should something happen, you break down, you gotta flag someone down on the side of the highway to get a ride or a tow, or you gotta buy a jug of oil or anything like that. There's a lot of times that general people in public will help, and other times they're a little bit more reluctant. This is nice to be able to offer someone cash if you ever need to. If you need to buy a jug of oil, buy some gas, pay someone to tow you out of a ditch, pay for a tow truck or something like that, where they might not necessarily have a debit machine. A lot of people out there, you know, it is 2020 or almost 2021, but a lot of people don't have debit machines, personal people. So again, that's why I always try to carry a couple $100 emergency. I just put it in there. I forget about it. It's not a big deal. At the end of the year, I could always use it for other things if I need to. But it's very handy to have that for emergencies. And that's what I carry on the front pouch. Inside the top pouch of this, easiest pouch to get to, headlamp. Just because I can get that really, really quickly. I also carry spark plugs on me. Same thing, easy to get to. I can just reach in there and grab a couple spark plugs. And my multi-tool. This thing is the multi-tool that has got me out of a ton of binds. I've had this thing for like 15, 20 years. It's fantastic, and there's so many things that I've been able to use this for snowmobiling, from loosening bolts to tightening bolts, you know, cutting wires, cutting zip ties, like you name it. A multi-tool is definitely a handy thing to have. Now, inside the bag, that's generally where I'll bring some small articles of clothing depending on what the conditions are and what the day is requiring. If I'm out trail riding, I might do something different. If I'm doing backcountry stuff, I'm going to do something different too. But on ballpark, a thermal shirt. I usually always carry an extra layer of a thermal shirt. So that's a full long sleeve shirt. And then some small gloves. These are just an extra pair of like little glove liners the FXR gloves. These things are fantastic. They keep you nice and warm if your gloves are cold and wet. If your riding gloves get cold and wet and you just need something quick and dry to work on something, or if you're working on wrenching on a machine, you can throw these on because they're very thin and they're easy to work with. The other thing that I'll keep in here as well is balaclavas depending on the weather. So if it's a milder day, I'll keep a thin, like a climb balaclava in there. If it's a cold day, I'll carry a really cold weather balaclava in there as well as the one that I'm wearing for the actual trip. So, you know, you tend to pack for the day. I don't really carry all sorts of different balaclavas because it's not needed. I just, you know, bring the ones that I need for that particular day. So that's it for the backpack. That's it for what's on me at all times. Okay. Last is my tunnel bag. Tunnel bag is, this year I have, it's a new Polaris Lock and Ride. The nice thing about the Lock and Ride is it's really easy. It's just like you say, you can lock it onto the sled and go, and then when you're done, you just hit these little clips and it comes off and you can bring it into the house. I don't have to leave this one attached to my sled all the time, which is really nice. The bag itself is really light. However, I do have a fair bit of stuff in here now. I would say with all the safety stuff and everything that I have in it, probably sitting around the 10 to 12 pound mark. Would be a pretty safe guess. Clamshell cover keeps everything safe. That opens up, and then you can unzip the main cover. It's got a cover on top of it that's mesh, so you can keep different things in there. And then this is the main actual compartment. Now, this is what we have inside of it, and I'm going to kind of go through it a bit at a time to kind of give you an idea of what's in there for safety stuff and everything like that. Okay, so from the top, spare toque. It's nice to have a nice dry spare toque. I keep one on the sled, but you know, one gets wet or something like that gets lost, or if someone else doesn't have a toque, you got a spare one. My cold weather gloves. You're riding out in the backcountry and it's really, you know, a nice day and you're sweating and your gloves get wet. You don't even notice it until it's time to hit the trails and go home. Then your hands freeze. So that's why I have the nice thick 509 gloves. These guys are the leather ones, and they're good for like -40, -50. They'll keep me warm all my ride home. My axe is fantastic. You use it, obviously I've used this, I don't have to explain how to use an axe, but this has saved my butt lots of times. Had to cut my way out of the woods from getting stuck. The rope, carry a spare rope. There's an extra like 100 feet of rope. It's nothing too fancy, that's just rope that if I need to do something with it, I have it. I always have water. Obviously I have bottles of water and snacks, granola bars, things like that. Sorry, a little cough. It's not COVID, I swear. Okay, so drinks, snacks, balaclava, warm pair of socks, thermal shirt if needed, hand warmers. These things are great just even for warming up a cell phone. If you got a cell phone with you, you can keep it in a pocket. You can crack one of these things, shake it up, keep it in the pocket with the cell phone, then your phone's not going to freeze. Those are fantastic. My big first aid kit is in here. This first aid kit kind of covers everything. What I really like about this first aid kit is it will do everything. So I'll just kind of open this up and give you an idea. I have tourniquets. There's a whole section for wound care, alcohol, wipes, a lot of band-aids, different kinds of wraps. I have everything for fractures, bandages, medicine, splinters. This first aid kit has everything from CPR, which, you know, helps if you know how to use it. It has different like information pamphlets. It has one of those, I don't know what you would call it, the pens for allergies to stab someone with. Antiseptic wipes, pretty much everything. A really, really good high-end first aid kit, and this would have everything. So besides like surgeries, there's not too much that you can handle that you're not prepared for on a trail with a good kit like this. which is good to know because if anything ever happens, a lot of people carry minor stuff, but if you need a pretty major thing, it's always good to have that. All right, toolkit. Toolkit's a big one. It's one of these things that you hope you never need it. This is my tool / survival kit. This has a ton of stuff in it. So I'll kind of go through this, what I have. So open that up right away. Needle nose pliers, wire cutters, vice grips. It's nice, even like little things like to pull out a pull cord if something happened, you had to clamp it on there and hold it. They're great to have. Extra cordage. Allen key set. Allen key sets, like you need that for sledding because you use these all the time. We're using these for adjusting throttles yesterday. In the top here, that's an emergency shelter. This could be set up to actually make a full shelter if you need it. Bungee cords, a bunch of little assorted bungee cords if you need some more zip ties. Emergency candles. They're not really going to keep you warm, but if you have enough of them inside a shelter like that, it does provide a little bit of warmth. Mostly, they're great for light and for starting fires. If you need to start a fire, emergency candles are fantastic for that. This is the little survivor pouch. The survivor pouch has a whole bunch of different things in here. I have a small little pair of binoculars, so if I need to see something from far away, I got those. My handy dandy spoon fork. This thing does everything from opening bottles of beer to saw, a fork, a spoon, a little wrench. Does all sorts of stuff, does that thing. Spare spark plugs, can't ever have enough of those. Spare fire starter, fire striker. Lighters sometimes don't work, so it's good to have a striker if you need it. A poncho, this is actually just a waterproof rain poncho. Pocket knife, hand warmers, another Sharpie, a spare compass. It's handy if you ever have to separate from someone. I have two, which is always nice. Spare little beaners, electrical tape, little multi-tool that has everything from a saws, cordage, screwdrivers, measuring tape, bottle openers, wrenches, everything all in that little kit. Spare flashlight, spare batteries, little fishing kit with like lines and hooks, and then your whistle, obviously, if you need to whistle at anyone, and spare lighters, everything like that. So that's everything that's in that little survivor kit, and then I'll pull out my little tool kit here. Okay. Last but not least, obviously, is just my little tool kit here. This nice little soft leather pouch that my dad made me that I can keep all my tools in. These are all not necessarily player specific tools, but just my basic tools that I carry with me that's good for my sled and most other people's sleds. I have an adjustable a screwdriver driver, and then a whole bunch of different bits. So then I carry everything from the Torx, the Robinsons, Starheads, pretty much every kind of bit, Allen keys and everything like that. So that one little screwdriver, those bits will handle everything that I need to do for screwdriver purposes. I have a socket wrench for the spark plugs, and like an actual spark plug wrench. The driver. Then I carry for sockets a lot of the main sizes that are common for snowmobiling. I have an extension. I'll carry obviously the infamous 10 mils. I'll carry a 9, an 8, a 10, a 12, an 11, all the main sizes for sockets, and then the whole assortment of wrenches too. It's pretty handy to have them. There's been a few times where I've needed these and not had them, so nowadays I just kind of carry everything that I need. Mostly I carry metric stuff. I know the MBRP, or not the MBRP, sorry, all the Skidoo guys, that's all metric too, so that's why I normally carry just metric. This will work for my players, and it will work for anyone else that has some Skidoo stuff as well. So all the main sizes of that, and that's it. Pretty basic toolkit. There's not too much that I can't handle. I don't have a spring puller on there for like exhaust, but in a pinch you could grab needle nose or something like that and get them off as long as you got a strong grip. So that's it, guys. That is everything that I carry on the sled. Um, I'm sure there's things that I'm missing. I'd love to hear if you carry something that I don't, or if you think that there's some things that are redundant I don't really need. But this is they're cool little video just so you guys could all see what I have. So should we ever be somewhere and you need something, you know if I have it or not. So yeah, let me know what you think, and it was fun doing it. I'll talk to you and see you all on the trails. Bye.